Diogo Dalot, one of the most talked about right backs in global football today. Question is this passionate young man the best right back in the Premier League right now? Welcome to the United Hotspot, and this episode is dedicated to a player who has shown different passion from any Man United player I have seen recently, Diogo Dalot. Now, Dalot was signed by Manchester United in 2018 when he came in from FC Porto for £19 million. Now, at that time, Jose Mourinho, if you do recall, was the boss, and to spend that amount of money on a young right back was something that called for attention. But I do recall that Jose Mourinho, upon arrival, said with his age, he was one of the best right backs in the region, in Europe. At the time, he was one of the best right backs around. This is Jose Mourinho commending Diogo Dalot for how good he was. Now, we were not able to see the best of him early because of injuries that saw him off for some time before we loaned him. After returning from injury, we loaned him to AC Milan, if you do recall, where he spent the 2020-2021 season. But Dalot has now emerged as one of our best players. And in fact, debates are going on whether he's the best Man United player across the whole season so far. I honestly think for me, Dalot has got a lot of credit to take with whatever we will achieve as Manchester United. I think clearly has been consistently the most improved player at Manchester United. He has been improving day in and day out. At the start of the season, you do recall that many of us were going out at him, calling him out for being a little naive, making wrong decision, not so good with his tackles. We called him a lot of things. But I honestly think that this boy, and whenever I talk about Dalot, I do recall what Cristiano Ronaldo kept saying about him when he dropped that biting expose of the rot in Manchester United, when he fell out with the club and Eric Ten Hag in particular. Cristiano Ronaldo made it clear that of all the young players there, Dalot showed potential to improve, and it is good that we are beginning to see it now. And again, it shows you what you can do if you have a cool head on your shoulder and you focus and you work on yourself. Because by the time you're scouted by Manchester United, obviously you've got the potential to be great. But many are overtaken by the stardom and they fail to focus on the football. They fail to humble themselves and play football, and they don't achieve even a quarter of what their potential can achieve. Now, Dalot, I think, has improved in all facets of the right back. He has improved in his 1v1 situations and tackling. I think he's good. When is the last time Diogo Dalot got a card for a fall? I think the last card I saw Diogo Dalot get, we concede, was a card we all argued about. We are saying, why was he being red card? I think it was an incident with the referee. I think was mourning over something and stuff, which was clear. And I mean, the moment and the heat of the game, called for that. But when it comes to his tackles, they are clean, always to the ball. He doesn't miss the ball, and he's always on time. Yet he's an overlapping right back. He's an overlapping right back, but he's never caught off guard. That takes a lot of discipline and balance, knowing when to go, knowing when to invert. Because besides overlapping, Diogo Dalot is also he inverts himself when Eric Ten Hag calls upon him to do so, to come and add to the midfield. And boy, isn't he so confident on the ball? And it's rare to see right backs who can use the ball the way he does. I think it's a typical thing of Brazilian defenders we've seen, I think, historically been able to use the ball the way Diogo Dalot does. Now, this boy, for me, is something different. So I think that's one big area he has improved in the 1v1 situation. Then his crosses are also better. Before, Dalot used to swing unnecessary crosses, just making wrong decisions and crossing haphazardly. Right now, his crosses are inch perfect. They are well directed. He swings diagonal balls from the right to go to the left. Then he's crossing to find the head of Scott McTominay. I mean, he has just mastered the art of making the right decision and getting that final ball in right, which is a big improvement. Then I hinted about him being inverted. I think he adds a lot to our midfield because many a time the way Eric Ten Hag wants to play, he wants to pack the middle, but by getting other players in other departments to come and add that extra player, extra legs onto the midfield. Now, Dalot has, for the most part, been that player who has been doing that. Besides the forward who come and track back, besides the forwards who come and also try to support the midfielders, Dalot keeps coming in even more. Whenever we have the ball, Dalot is in, trying to add and be involved and passing. And you see him lively and energetic, asking for the ball, almost going goal scoring positions. He's a free soul. He plays sort of a free role, yet it's something rare of a right back. So that's a different player. And for me, if you ask me, I think Dalot is the one player who, after Lisandro Martinez, has understood most how Eric Ten Hag wants to play. I think he has mastered his master to the T or to the latter. He knows how Eric Ten Hag wants to play his football. That is a commendable thing. In the 26 games he has played this season, he has scored one goal and assisted twice. But I think his contribution to the team is beyond even just the stats. I think the life he brings and the passion he brings even on the pitch when we are playing, that passion is good because Man United has been struggling for a long time because of maybe a little bit of lack of passion from some personalities. We saw when we beat Liverpool how Dalot was hitting, that board when you entering the tunnel. He was shouting, and you see his passion and energy, and you can see this is a boy made for Manchester United. And remember, he's 25, just approaching his prime, or probably just on the at the start, at the takeoff of his prime. So for me, I look at Dalot and I'm thinking, in a few years, he might be one of our biggest assets as Manchester United. Give him 1 or 2 years. When he's 26, 27, Dalot, next season, for example, all factors constant. And the one thing I've noticed about him is ever since he suffered that injury upon arrival, he has been consistent in terms of fitness. He has not really got a lot of injuries that have kept him out for long. That I think is so important for a player. That's a bit of luck because some players, case in point, Tyrell Malaysia, are unlucky with injuries. So Dalot can thank the man above for him for being able to be kept fit more times than not. So he's available more times than most of the other players, and that has helped him. Remember, at some point he was below Aaron Wan-Bissaka in the pecking order in the right back. Right now, he has got the right back position for keeps, and I don't think any one of us can go out there and say we need to be signing a right back as an important player in this summer transfer window. Yet, before we were not sure about both Dalot and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. If we were to sign a right back, we could bring in one as a backup for Dalot because Dalot is almost world class. He's getting there, and you don't find so many of them lately. I mean, they can talk about Frimpong and the likes, but I still think for me, Dalot, with the way he's progressing, he's a better first choice right back than any other right back around that we can think of. So this is how important this boy is and how good he looks for me is so good. Now, if you have more players, Onana is improving. You've got Lisandro Martinez, bring a centre back, have Dalot stepping up his game like that. You've got Kobe Maino in the middle, bring him a good partner to replace Casemiro. You've got Bruno who is now getting back fired up because the fans are feeling him. The psyche around Bruno is better. You've got Hoyland up top. You've got Garnacho. You see that this team is looking like a Man United team soon. That we are just steps away from being a competitive Manchester United squad, something that has, I think, eluded us for some time. So it's a good thing, a good thing to see. It's a promising thing to see. It's an amazing thing to see. And for me, I think honestly that come this season, with players like Dalot and the few who signed to boost the squad, we are going to be more unplayable. Dalot actually, I think, has got the potential to be a future, maybe assistant captain or even captain in the future because but Bruno Fernandes is 29 and maybe Sajim does not plan to keep him for so long. In 29, 30, 31, 32 in 3 years, when Dalot is 28, Bruno will be aging and perhaps will be looking at the exit. So obviously, Diogo Dalot is one player who will be ripe then, perhaps to even lead the lot. So this boy is one we need to focus on. Ask me, is he the best right back in the league? I think he's up there among the best. He can be a proper contender for that. And saying that for me feels good because we've struggled with individuals across the season. When one player is performing well, someone else is struggling. When one is good, the rest someone is bad. There is a point where Kobe Mino was the only good player or performing player in Man United. Right now, there seems to be a consistent improvement in all individuals, and that's why we are seeing even those who had been left behind, like Anthony Dos Santos, are stepping up their game. Anthony now is also stepping up his game because he's putting in the hard yards. He saw what became of Dalot after him putting after him putting in the hard years, because at some point we are complaining more about Dalot than even we were complaining about Anthony. But Dalot kept his head down and focused on improving himself. And guess what? Fast forward, we're talking about him as one of the most improved players at United, if not the most improved, but also as the best right back in the English Premier League. That's commendable. Give him credit when it's due for him. So Diogo Dalot, he was not in the Portugal squad for their friendly against Sweden, probably because of issues, injuries, or maybe rested. Because I mean, this boy has been playing a lot of games, and he's not a Bruno Fernandes probably. But whatever the issues were, well, Diogo Dalot, I think for me, we need to admire his passion, and we hope that it passes, it spreads across the entire squad, because that kind of passion is what wins over supporters, is what people who pay their money to go at Old Trafford are hoping for from these players. At least it's the least you can show us. Even if a result doesn't come, show the passion you showed against Liverpool. Trust me, the fans will be happy with that. My name is Webb. This is the United Hotspot, and thank you, Diogo Dalot. Obrigado, obrigado, Dalot.